Welcome to the Do Zone, where real entrepreneurs share real strategies about getting things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. You can find me on social media at JT Literally. This podcast is brought to you by Factor One. If you're a six-figure entrepreneur who's looking to hit 7 this year, there are 3 key shifts that you need to make right now in order for that to be possible. Go to iamfactor1.com now, and I'll show you exactly what those 3 key shifts are and how you can get them set up for your business in less than 6 minutes. Once again, that's iamfactor1.com. Today's guest is Shauna Weckerling. Shauna is the U.S. top 1% ranked, highly sought after tax strategist. She is passionate about helping successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and high wage earners reduce their tax burden. Having founded Tax Goddess Business Services, PC, in 2004, she has built a large global team of tax specialists who use plain language, not tax code, to help her clients create tax opportunities and manage tax risk legally. Shauna, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Most people wouldn't think of. Well, my initial answer is time blocking, but I think a lot of people think about that. I am going to tweak time blocking for a second here, though, because I think most people, when they look at time blocking, they say, okay, listen, I think it's going to be 3 hours for this project. I time block absolutely everything. So down to get a drink of water, down to rub the puppy dog tummy, whatever it is, time block absolutely everything. And one of the things that I love about doing it that way is that because sometimes time just runs over, if time runs over, you can just drag and drop whatever that thing is into the next open slot and you don't lose it, you don't forget about it. So I'm a huge fan of, I would call it specific time blocking versus 4 hours to work on work. So
I love that specific time blocking. And
yes,
the idea behind this, because when you say time blocking, yeah, it's kind of like, ooh, that sounds intimidating. It sounds like a lot of work. But
if I could share my calendar, I would. But, honestly, it's all about habit, just like everything else in life, right? You do it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It will be the best thing you ever do. You will actually have time to rest, relax, recharge, all the things that we should be doing as business owners that we never find the time to do. You got to make it in the plan. So
you got to make it in the plan. And the other thing, the other thing that you mentioned that I think is really important is not everything goes according to plan. And so we have to make a plan, but we have to accept that this plan may not go as planned. It may
100%.
It may be something else entirely. In fact, we should expect that it's not going to go that way. I was interviewing some guys yesterday about public speaking. And one of the pieces of advice that I got from a very seasoned veteran stage speaker who's been on 300 stages, he said, just go ahead and plan for something to go completely wrong and be ready.
100%. 100%. Yep. If you're ready for it, right? The only constant is change.
Yep.
So as long as you're ready for problems and change and whatever else, then you'll be fine.
Yep. And be surprised if something doesn't go wrong. Like, oh, that's interesting. And you always kind of have that extra thing in your pocket. And that's what I like about, me personally. I have a hard time staying on task sometimes because I get distracted and I go in this direction. And part of me is just like, hey, you got to focus. But another part of me has to, for following the 4 agreements, the 4th agreement, always do your best. And It's like the get out of jail free card. All right, you messed that up, but you can start over tomorrow and get back on your routine. You don't have to eat those 6 pizzas just because you had one last night.
Oh, that sounds yummy. But yes, agreed.
It does sound yummy. So talk to us a little bit about, I want to know, I have an audience full of entrepreneurs, and some of them are making more money than they ever made in their life. They come in, they start a business, they get into kind of this low to mid 6-figure range, and all of a sudden they realize, oh crap, I'm in the 35% tax bracket where I'm used to getting a refund. Now I'm cutting checks for the same amount of money I made like 5 years ago.
Yes.
So talk to me about some high level tips and strategies that an entrepreneur can take to reduce or manage that tax burden or optimize it for their wealth building.
Absolutely. So I'll give you a couple of my favorite strategies, but also there's a big piece here, which is your team. So I'll cover that bit last. So first strategy, if you work at home, if you have a dog, if you have kids, and anything this home life type stuff, there are quite a lot of deductions that relate to those items specifically. So for example, dogs, you can see dog toy in the corner, and I have some sleeping next to me here on the floor. If you have a big dog, so its shoulder passes the height of your knee, you can actually take that dog as security, which means all the food, all the training, all the other things. And I know for a lot of entrepreneurs, we all need that puppy tummy rub time to calm down. So many of us have dogs. I wish it would work for cats. Sorry, my cat people, does not work for cats, only for dogs. But, take a look at where you're spending your personal money. So have you done any major repairs to your house? Make sure that those expenses are on your accountable plans, that your CPA is taking those with your tax return. Children, along with dogs, are some of the most expensive, cute little things in the household. If they're older than 7, you can put them on payroll. That'll knock out a little over $20,000 a year of your taxable income. Keep that cash inside your family. So definitely be looking at those home expenses, where are you spending money? The next one is looking at how you can actually outsource some of your work. So talking about productivity, right? If you have not yet hired overseas, go hire overseas. Okay. There are some amazing people that you can get either for technical jobs, depending on whatever your industry is, but also as executive assistants, administrative assistants. These people free up your time so that you can do the $1,000 an hour jobs and they can do the $10 an hour jobs. Get your workload streamlined. Of course, those are all tax deductions as well. And thirdly, depending on how big your business has gotten, as you said, the mid 6 figures, if you're pulling at least $750,000 a year in gross revenue, there is a fantastic strategy called a captive insurance company that will allow you to actually take massive deductions, right? In the $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 range, put that money aside and you will never be taxed on it, never, ever, never, ever again. Okay, so it's probably one of my other favorite tax strategies. And the biggest, of course, in my mind is the team, right? Those are, in my world, those are some of the low-hanging fruit type tax strategies. There are typically over, I think it's almost 1,600 tax strategies between the federal, the state, and the local tax strategies that apply. So when you look at your financial team, of course, you've got to have a good bookkeeper. Somebody's got to be tracking all those numbers. Got to have a good CPA filing the tax returns. Third person, you've got to have a strategist. Okay. If you're making that kind of money and you're now paying taxes in what you used to make a gross for the year, right? If you want to keep it, you need to have a full-blown strategy. I'm going to be very honest here. There's lots of great strategies on TikTok, but watching a 30 or 60-second TikTok is not going to explain how to do it, how to keep you out of jail, how to make sure it's all above board, and how does the IRS not come breathing down your throat for doing it wrong. So having that strategy.
How about a 12-minute podcast though? Would that be enough?
Yes, absolutely. We'll do it. We can do that.
So I'm curious, you mentioned one thing that really stood out there. First of all, the great advice about if you have a dog that measures above your knee.
Yes.
That's a new one. Okay.
It's a new one. Yeah. A lot of people, it's actually an old one, but people just don't know about it.
So. Yeah, it's new to me. So, and then the captive insurance is fascinating. So you're setting this money aside and you don't have to pay taxes on it. And do you have access to this capital or?
You do. Typically it's about a year and a day. So it's going to be trapped for about a year and a day, but after a year and a day, you have access to typically around 70% of it to do whatever you want with.
Makes sense. And you never have to pay taxes.
Yeah. Never, ever, never, ever. Now it's got to be done right. Don't take this 60-second, 12-minute podcast and go try and do it on your own. Yeah. Make sure you're working with an expert. But yeah, absolutely. There's some fantastic, just like the dog thing. It's been around forever and ever and ever. People don't know it exists, right? And really, for me, that's probably one of the best things you can do for yourself as an entrepreneur. Ask questions, reach out to people that are knowledgeable, right? Find that expert, just like you're an expert in what you do. Find the expert who knows what they're doing to help you make sure you're doing it right the first time.
So I'm curious about the transition that you made from astrophysics to tax strategy. But first of all, both of those sound really complicated to me. And so you went from like one really hard thing to a totally different hard thing. But I'm like, who does that and why?
Very, very, very long story short. Okay. Well, let me put it this way. If you want to read the full story, you can read it in our book, The 6% Life. It is the opening chapter of this book as to how I went from astrophysics to tax strategy. But the very long story short, my mom is my goddess, right? Everybody calls me the tax goddess. She is my goddess. She's who I look up to. Very long story short, she got a nastygram from the IRS, and being the redheaded daughter of a mom who adores her, I was going to do everything I could to solve it and fix the problem. And so ended up switching from astrophysics into accounting, finance, tax, specializing. That's where we get the rank of the top 1%. There are 660,000 CPAs, general CPAs, according to Google. There are only 15 people in the country that do what I do to minimize people's taxes. So my mom was the kickoff for the whole thing. And at this point, we've now saved our clients a little over 1.12 billion in taxes. So yeah, that's the short version of the book.
That's
which I believe is on sale on Kindle. So if anybody wants tax strategies, there's more in the book. So
the 6% Life.
6% Life, you got it. Yeah, our average tax rate for our clients is 6.92%. So the 6% Life is an accurate title. So
excellent. Well, I definitely need to read that book because I am a multiple of that tax bracket.
Oh, let's be playing with that.
I won't say which multiple, but definitely not two.
Got to. Okay. Well, we're working on it. We're working on it, Josh. Well, absolutely. So yeah, the book, really, I am an educator by heart. So really the book covers 7 of my favorite tax strategies. The captive is in there. So you guys already have a head start on one of them, but I love educating. And so it's a big deal for me, especially for my mom's a small business owner, right? It's a big deal for me that small business owners don't get, air quotes, taken advantage of. Don't pay more in taxes than you are legally required to pay, right? Keep it legal. You're not going to jail. We're not doing Al Capone stuff and hoping we're not getting caught, right? But yeah, absolutely. So
excellent. And so tell us how we can learn more about what you do and how people can connect with you.
You're a sweetheart. Easiest place to find us is taxgoddess.com. My whole team is there. And if you're interested in tax strategies or any of the other stuff that we do, you can book a call with the team. I'm at the end of the process, but yeah, the team is here to support. And we've got 93 people around the globe at this point. So lots of people that can talk and help and make sure that you are getting everything you need. So
excellent. Thank you so much, Shauna, the tax goddess. Weckerling, really appreciate you coming on to share a little bit of wisdom about how you get things done, and how we can keep more of our money to ourselves as entrepreneurs. So we're going to wrap from here. Thanks again to Shauna, the tax goddess. For more information, you can go to Amazon and pick up a copy of her book, The 6% Life, which I just did. And you can also go to her website one more time, which is
taxgoddess.com.
Taxgoddess.com. If you listen to us on your morning commute, during your workout, somewhere out in the field, be sure to snap a selfie, tag me at JT Literally. Tell me what you do in the do zone, and I'll share the best photos with my social media. Also, if you're looking to break the 7-figure barrier with your business, but you know what got you here ain't going to get you there, we can help. Go to IamFactor1.com now, and let's see how much impact we can make in the next 6 minutes. Know this, you are Factor 1 for your own success. Now let's get to work.